episode 5 of the Kory and Spencer show.
Renamed Let Go Radio, this is Kory Getman.
And Spencer White.
We left off the last episode saying that we'd start this one with vision. So let's do that. Take it away, Spence.
Man, alright, so where do we even begin with vision? There is a quote out there I like, and it's something about a life of happiness, blah, 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 and you can have sight but no vision, right? So you can see your normal day, every day, the things you gotta do, maybe your to-do list, things around the house that need to be done, but if you don't have vision to where your life is going, you can get trapped pretty quickly.
It comes with seeing things clearly, without attaching labels, with just seeing what is there, with living with reality rather than what your mind has interpreted it to be. Is that what I'm understanding you to say, or are you talking about something else?
No, I am talking about that. That's what we're referring to. And also attached to that is, what's the vision for your life? What are you here for, or at least in your perception, what are you here for?
Right, you can make your life be about anything you want. You can be here for whatever you want to be here for. Whatever you choose to do is what you are here for. There's no universal, all-encompassing, everyone's here for this grander purpose that applies to everyone. But you choose your own life purpose, and that's great.
Definitely, and I think my favorite part about this whole concept of vision, right, because we're just diving right into it, is kind of how you can look at a map, and you could have no clue where you're going, but you trust this map so much. And this map tells you to turn right here, turn left here, turn right here, 3 more rights, another 6 lefts, and all of a sudden you've reached your destination, right? And you're happy, you're content, the map really, really did help you out. That map is not an actual lay of the land, though. It is a representation of the lay of the land, right? And this comes from NLP, Neuro-Linguistic Programming, how they talk about the map being just a resemblance of the territory, and how this ties into us on a normal daily life and our vision is your vision becomes that map for your life. So you can actually put down on paper something for yourself to move along. Right step here, left step here, and get you to goal A, B, C, which might set you up for helping people in a massive way, or maybe it's just for selfish stuff and you want to get some nice, fun tool.
And I want to interrupt and say that selfish is not a bad thing. We have the way that our minds work, we interpret selfish to be a terrible thing, and that's a bad virtue to have, but that's just literally anything that you do for yourself. And I think that there are things that should be done for yourself. Like, you could call eating a selfish thing, just anything that you do. And if you look at selfish as a bad thing, then you're judging yourself or judging others as being selfish because it didn't involve you.
Exactly.
And another thing that I want to say on that is not to confuse the map with the world. Mm-hmm. And when you lay out the map of your life, you only have to do that once. It can constantly change as you go along, but you lay it down, your goal for the future, and you live in the future as you're planning it, but you plan it now. And as you do each step, you're doing each step now, rather than living in the future goal. You already set out what you want. There's an expression for this, set it and forget it. You've got it set out already. You don't have to live there in your mind now. You be right where you are, following each step, and not being on the next step when you're on the current step, and not thinking back to previous steps when you're on the current step. You just stay completely present, and you'll discover the power that comes with presence, the intense focus. You'll actually get where you want to go by being where you are.
Much happier, too. Much more present, obviously, but much happier, because we all know the people that we run into at the grocery store, and, hey, Joe, how's it going? And he's going, it's good, but he's so focused on something else. You can see he's somewhere else, or we say it all the time. He was okay, but he wasn't all there. Mm-hmm. What does that mean? It means that they're not present in the moment. They might be living in the future, like what Kory's talking about, going, okay, tomorrow I gotta do...
And they're probably worried about what they have to do next. When you're in the grocery store and he's distracted from talking to you, he's not there at all. And that leads me to deadness. When you're not where your body is, when your mind is somewhere that your body is not, what's the difference between that and being dead? Like, when you're dead, your body is still a thing on this earth. The only thing that leaves it is your mind. So, if you're living anywhere but presently, if you are completely away from your body and where you are and what you're doing right now, you may as well be dead. When you come to being present, you are fully alive. And you're here, and you're enjoying and embracing everything that comes along. Whether you judge it as good or bad, it just is what it is. And you can choose to handle it how you handle it. And if you're not completely there, things in life are going to run right over you. And you're not going to be there to handle it at all.
Yeah, presence is huge. And something I would like to add to that too is everything in moderation, right? And that's such a cliche thing, but it is easy to use it in place to explain, like, look, there is a time to sit and meditate, if you will, on the future. On, okay, are my actions now going to, produce fruit in the future? Is planting the seed now, nurturing it now, going to produce a tree in the future? Or am I really wasting my time? That's a real question. That's an okay thing. But if you're sitting there going, oh my God, am I watering the plant right? Did I plant it right? Is it gonna grow the right angle just so I can get as much fruit as possible? Whoa, slow down, calm down.
Right, contemplating the future. There's nothing wrong with doing that. But you do that in its own time. When you're planning for the future,
right.
You just plan for the future.
Right.
You don't plan for the future while you're out talking to your friends. You don't plan for the next thing while you're doing this thing.
Yeah.
You don't... what's a thing people do? You don't play football and then think about dinner while you're doing it or whatever. You don't think about tomorrow's breakfast while you're eating tonight's dinner. You just be there and enjoy the dinner. Like, you taste life. Apply that to all of life. We live like we're starving. But apply that to life. Like, that's an analogy for life. Taste every experience and be there with it. Like, imagine if you really were starving and every bit of food that came along you're going to hoard and you're going to need and you're going to grab it or fight for it or get worried or anxious that it's not going to be there anymore. That's how we approach life. That's how we approach people. That's how we approach our situations and our jobs and what we do, as if we're starving. But imagine that you've already filled up, but you're going for that piece of dessert. And you get this, let's say, fudge or chocolate cake.
That sounds
and
good.
Yeah, you put it in your mouth, you savor it, you really enjoy that taste. Now apply that to life. What if you could be like that with your friends and family? What if you could savor and enjoy their presence and not need it for some other purpose that isn't right now? Not need it for what's going to be.
Yeah, that's huge. And all this is so essential to, I think, one of our underlying themes, which is happiness. It's so essential to that because otherwise you begin to need situations or avoid situations because of happiness or unhappiness or fear or any one of those emotions that can lead to a self-destructive path. And
I just got a text saying, "Hey, I'm listening to your podcast. I'm glad you guys are doing this."
That's
I
so
just
cool.
want to say that I'm a little happy about that.
That's super
More like
cool.
a thrill, but
I love it.
it's. I don't have any attachment to whether people listen to this or not. This is just so fun to do.
This is so much fun to do.
I want to throw it out there. If you guys have any interest in doing this and going on and talking about anything, it doesn't have to be living life. It doesn't have to be even sharing your experiences. You can go on and talk about video games or sports if you want. But if you have an interest in doing it, go for it. And if you have questions about it, email us. SpencerandKory@gmail.com. Shoot us a Facebook message. Text us if you have our numbers that I'm not really going to give out right
Yeah,
here. But,
right. We will respond. And, if there's something you're extremely passionate about, or maybe something you find controversial, we would love to talk about it. Everybody has a different way of life. Everyone has a different viewpoint. And we'd love to talk. And so if you wanted to come onto the show, then also message us and we'll see what we can do,
Yeah, leave a comment. Tell us a little bit of your story, whatever. But we would love to have guests. We would even take phone guest.
Definitely.
Call in.
Definitely.
And, anyway, let's move on to another point.
Well, for one thing, vision to me is just something that's on my mind because last night I went to a little networking event, and it was really neat. And one of the men there that spoke happens to be one of my buddies, really close buddy, and he just painted such a powerful vision for the young people that were there. And it made me realize that vision, that excitement for things that are coming, make people do things now in the present that are really powerful, where it's almost like you've painted this perfect situation for yourself, and you're so excited to create that. You're so excited to apply that creative enthusiasm that we all have inherently that gets snuffed out of us, unfortunately, at a young age.
So sad.
And that stuff, when you put it towards something you're excited about or that you have vision for, it's powerful, man. You can feel it in a room. You can feel, it doesn't matter what someone's talking about, really. Like, somebody could be obsessed with number 2 pencils, and they could be so ecstatic talking about number 2 pencil. You're like, wow, that was amazing.
I want to hear more about number 2 pencils. Like, you get that sort of quality. Their feelings can rub off on you. It can get you excited if it's something that you're interested in. I mean, you could be completely not interested, but
yeah.
Anyway, excitement for the future. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. You can live completely in the present and still be excited for your future because you know that what you're working on, you know inside that it will be to benefit your future. But like we've stressed in the last episode, be excited for the future without a thought in your mind that it is your happiness, with realizing that you could be completely happy should that thing not happen. It's totally okay to enjoy things, to be excited for things, to be happy for things. Imagine a state where you could be the happiest person about anything. You could get so excited, be thrilled, without the depressions that follow, without the misery, without the opposite of those things. You know, yeah, my team's going to make a lot of money, or yeah, we're going to help a lot of people, or yeah, we're going to win this game. But you're not depressed should the opposite not happen.
Exactly.
Like, you'll see that in, like, basketball players. When they go into a game, if they go in to win, and they've got their minds and hearts set on winning, and then they lose, we call this person a sore loser, but they'll be all upset, and they'll be looking for someone to blame, or they'll blame themselves, and, you know, like, oh, coach, you should have put me in more, or they blame the coach, or, you know, Duncan can't shoot threes. Like, they just blame that guy. Like, who cares if you win or lose? They weren't there having fun. They were stuck on the outcome. So the idea with this story is not to be stuck on the outcome. Have a projected outcome, have a desired outcome, but let it be one of many preferences. Let it be, well, if it doesn't work, I guess I'll do something else. Rather than, that didn't work, now what am I going to do with my life, and I'm going nowhere.
Exactly. And this comes back to the emotional attachments, you know, and we could say that forever on almost every topic, because learning to manage emotional intelligence, rather. There's a book on it. I'm not going to lie, I thought it was rather boring, but it is a good book nonetheless. And emotional intelligence, it's all about, I think in the book they try to measure it like scientifically and then in other ways too. I didn't like the scientific approach because we don't really need that to explain that you're feeling good or that you're feeling bad. But the whole point is this: there is a way to go about winning and there is a way to go about losing, both in a way of emotional intelligence and understanding that when you lose something, that's okay. That's part of life.
You don't need a scientific explanation to understand it, but there are different kinds of good feelings that I can demonstrate here. Imagine the feeling you got when other people praised you and applauded you and made you feel good about what you were doing. And compare that to the joy you get from reading a good book, enjoying a good movie, or looking at nature. The first is a worldly feeling that you get from other people, from being told that you are good enough by other people. The second is a self-fulfillment. It's a spiritual feeling. It's not a spiritual feeling, a soulful feeling. Or compare the feeling that you got whenever you were made the boss of something, or the leader of a group, or, you know, you had final say on everything. You got to control who did what. You had power over people. and contrast that with, say, the feeling of watching a sunset, or the feeling of being intimate with friends and being happy and laughing and joking in a safe, comfortable environment. The first, again, is a worldly feeling that you get from boosting your power ego. The second is fun. It's a soulful feeling. You get it from being completely internally fulfilled from having fun, rather than from any outside source.
Or we would call that in tune. You're feeling in tune with nature, or in tune with the sunset or sunrise or whatever it is. It's something that we may not even be able to put words to 100%. I think Kory did a great job. But it's just this awesome feeling that can't be matched by anything else. And that's what we're getting at, is you can actually teach yourself to feel this all the time. And once again, like we've said before, it's not about saying there's no weeds in my garden, there's no weeds in my garden, and there's weeds all over your garden, right? It's about pulling the weeds from the garden with a good attitude and then planting more fruitful, plants, and really encouraging your mind to grow in healthy ways that support you, that support other people, and that I think overall lead to an impeccable garden.
Right. It's not about telling yourself these things that, like, I am happy, I am happy, I am happy, when you're not. It's about really seeing, it's about the vision again, seeing reality for what it is, and seeing falsehoods for what they are. The idea that you need power over people, or that you need other people's approval, these are completely false beliefs. And they'll get you in a lot of trouble when you start to buy into them. When someone tells you you're a genius, and you feel a little ego boost from that, and start to believe it, yeah, I am a genius, then that's gonna make you feel good, and then you're gonna get real anxious the next time you're around this guy. Next time you talk to him, oh, do you still think I'm a genius? Was what I said good enough? Do you still think that I'm that superior level? And you rely on that outside source to make you feel good. That is the worldly feeling.
Definitely. And there's nothing wrong with taking compliments.
Absolutely not. There's... Yeah. I'm sorry.
No, it didn't come across that way at all. Definitely nothing about you taking compliments. Take compliments. But you can take it in a way that's saying, hey, thank you, I genuinely appreciate you, reaching out and giving me positive vibes, basically.
Right, I enjoy that you appreciated what I had to offer.
Yeah.
Because that's what I came to do, to give something, rather than I'm taking your approval and boosting myself with it now.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't live like you're starving.
Yeah.
Enjoy. That's the difference between, looking at people as potatoes that you need to satisfy your hunger, or looking at them as dessert that you can enjoy all the time.
And it comes back to gratitude as well, because if you can wake up in the morning, and this is hard to do, I go through spouts of doing this every single day, and then I won't do it for a month or two because I forget, or I allow myself to get out of the routine, whatever it is, and then I'll do it again. But every morning I look at my girlfriend and I say, name 5 things you're grateful for. Because I know when I try to get myself to do it, and I go, okay, 5 things I'm grateful for, I might just run through a list. But if you do it with another person, it's really hard to fake it, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So I'll look at her at 5 things you're grateful for, and she'll go, okay, family, this, health, and she'll go through her list, and she'll look at me and go, 5 things you're grateful for. And I'll name those 5 things. And the funniest thing about the rest of your day, you will not have a bad day. You can't, because just how Kory was saying, you're not living like you're starving. But when we are not grateful for the things that we take for granted, like if you live in America, you probably have a car. If you don't have a car, and you use public transportation, that's awesome. I applaud you for that. But we're going to miss a lot of the things, that we should be grateful for.
See, the thing about being grateful is it instills you with a feeling of already being fulfilled. Like you look around and say, I have so much. You don't feel like you're unfulfilled and in need. When you turn that around from, oh, I need this and this, like, oh, wait, I have this, and I'm grateful for what I already have. I used to do that thing where I'd wake up and I'd have it written on my wipe-off board to remember the things that I'm grateful for and read off the things that I'm grateful for. And I stopped doing it as a ritual, but I was doing, for a little while, I did these meditations on death, where I would be either close to death or in my coffin and looking around and imagining the things that I wanted to hear people say I contributed to their life, or whatever. But those kind of contemplations and the going through the gratitude thing, I literally wake up every day with this feeling of, oh my God, I actually woke up today. I have a fresh 24 hours now. What am I about to do with it? What am I going to make happen today?
And you genuinely feel grateful all the time.
Right, it's not just saying, I guess I'm grateful for air and sunlight, and it's wonderful that we have air and sunlight. Like, it sounds cheesy, but it really is.
It really is, and these are things that we take for granted, and that's exactly what I'm saying, is if you live like you're starving, then you miss all of the things that already in your day are going correctly. And you focus on all the things that are going wrong. Oh, I hit every red light on the way to work. I was late. Oh, and it's just like the list goes on. But if you're like, okay, I made it to work without a car accident. I woke up and I had good, healthy food. I had somewhere to sleep last night. Like, there's so many things to be grateful for. It's ridiculous.
Another thing I want to say about the starving analogy is that it is an analogy. And if you're out there and actually starving, it is completely possible to be fulfilled and happy, even though you do really need food.
Because it's really a mind. I don't want to call it a game. It is kind of like a game because
all of life is kind of like a game.
Totally. And once you learn that these are muscles and that, once you develop them, they get stronger and stronger. And the way that you see the world, the way that you can manipulate ideas in your head to get certain outcomes and all those things, it really does become a game with yourself. It's kind of funny. And another thing I wanted to say was with this whole vision thing. If you have sight, once again, but you don't see things. If you have sight, if your eyes work, but you can't see the power, the energy of life, of relationships, of commitments, of all the beautiful things around us, to be honest with you, to me, you're blind. And I lived a large portion of my life blind. I could see the world, but I was completely blind to what was actually going on.
You may as well be. I mean, if you look at it and don't really see what's out there, if you see even your interpretation on it, that's something I wanted to get into, seeing people. Imagine someone that you don't like, someone you may think you hate. If you really took the time to see them clearly, you'd see that they aren't so bad. You've made these interpretations and assumptions about them, and the human mind becomes really lazy. It does. That's why we put labels on things. But look at them and realize what it is about them, and try and remove your labels. Like, you'll label someone as arrogant or proud or mean or a jerk. Realize what is actually going on with them, and you'll realize that they're just human, just the same as you or me. Or, for example, if you see someone as scary or angry all the time and you don't like them because of that, realize that angry person isn't scary. They're scared. They're not terrifying, they're terrified. The same could be said of the rude person. Maybe they're not rude, maybe they're scared, or maybe you're scared, so you interpret what they say as rude.
And I think this is a funny game we play, too, in society, because, honestly, we punish people way too much for their own insecurities, and that comes about because of what Kory was just saying. You look at someone and you go, wow, that person is arrogant, or that person is rude, but you have to understand what you even just said. You said that person is emanating, or is that the right word?
It depends. You haven't finished the sentence.
Emanating, like giving off.
Yes.
Okay, emanating arrogance. They're emanating arrogance. What is that saying about the security of the person? If someone who's secure...
Right. The arrogant person is actually insecure.
Right.
He's projecting something because he doesn't actually feel it.
And we hold that against people. we really see that, and then we go, oh, he's arrogant towards me. It's no.
Like, oh, that jerk's trying to look secure. What? Like, why is that a problem with him?
Yeah.
If anything, these kinds of people that you don't like, if you have to feel a certain way, feel sorry for them. Feel these negative attributes, if they really have them, which could just be your interpretation, but if they actually have them, they don't deserve your negative feelings. They deserve sympathy. They deserve understanding.
They probably need someone to listen to them.
Honestly.
It's really as simple as that, because you see these people, they're emanating this negative vibe, whatever it is, and it hurts other people or cuts into other people if those people allow it. And from the sidelines, before we understand these things, we look at that person and we go, wow, how could they, or why would they ever, or I can't believe the nerve. But then once you stand back and you have emotional intelligence and you have an understanding of yourself and awareness, and you can stand back from the situation, then you go, okay, hang on a second. They're doing that because they feel like they need to show off how intelligent they are. Okay, well, so
they probably don't feel intelligent.
Exactly, because
or they have an attachment to looking intelligent.
Oftentimes, everything's the opposite.
What you could see about, I mean, if you can recognize attachments in yourself, then when there's someone that you don't like or someone who's doing something you don't like, recognize the attachment in them. Like, let's say you're at a bar, for example, and a guy gets angry at you for hitting on his girlfriend. Whether you can relate to this or not, you've probably seen it on TV shows. That guy that's angry, he's scared. He's scared that he's going to lose the object of his attachment. He's worried that you pose a threat to what he considers his. To him being with his girlfriend.
Yeah.
That's absolute definition of attachment.
And insecurity. And
that angry guy isn't a jerk. He's afraid. You're a threat to him. So if anything, don't get mad back at him. There's a thing in the Bible about returning love for hate. Mm-hmm. If he slaps your left cheek off from your right or something like that. Because these guys that are coming at you with their anger and their aggression,
they don't understand.
They're cowards. They're afraid.
And they don't even understand it themselves. Because if they did, someone with emotional intelligence is usually the guy who's really quiet and he listens to what everybody has to say. He's the guy who walks in the room. You can feel something about him. You know, people may even look at him. He doesn't interact with everybody, but when he does, it's, hey, how are you doing? How are you doing? He'll almost never talk about himself, because what is there to talk about?
Why do you want to go in and just talk about yourself? Isn't it much interesting to learn things about other people?
Well, not when we're so focused on ourselves and our insecurity. And
people love talking about themselves, though.
Because they're scared.
It comes with identifying with being your story.
Yeah.
And you want to reaffirm that that identity to yourself. So you want to repeat this story to as many people as possible. So something happens in your life. You want someone to ask you something even closely related to something you're doing, so that you can branch off and tell them the story of your last week, or something that's on your nerves, or.
And it's okay to tell stories. It is okay to say, hey, check this out. Last week, I got to share some with you. This is the coolest thing.
Nothing wrong with that, but that doesn't come off as
something about yourself.
Right. You legitimately want to share something with me. You don't want to gain my approval. You don't want something from me.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So you're enjoying telling me this, but you don't expect anything from me.
Right.
And I'm sure you've run into people. You can recognize when they're hanging on someone or onto you because they want something from you. Because whether it's your approval or they like the attention you get. So they think, if I hang out around him, I'm going to get that attention too. This is my key.
That's crazy, man, how it all works. What time we are right now?
We are at 29.
29, all right, I like this. So, oh my gosh, so many powerful things. And, you know, if you're out there and maybe you're an angry person right now, maybe there's a lot going on in your life. Everyone's got a story. And remember, you don't have to identify with the story, but I know before we understand these things about ourselves, we do identify with stories. So we don't blame you.
You don't have to identify with the story. You know your story.
Right.
But it doesn't have to be who you are. You still have.
Right.
That's if that wasn't clearly defined, that should be mentioned as well. You're not going to develop amnesia suddenly and forget your story by not identifying with it.
Exactly.
But have the story. Tell the story if it's fun for you. Realize it's not who you are. You are only you right now.
Exactly. And if you're in pain or something, exactly what Kory just said. Don't hold on to that. Don't go out and do anything, that you're going to regret. Just sit for a minute and go, okay, does this story define who I am? Does this story define who I want to be? Does this story, is it gearing me to take actions that the person that I want to be wouldn't take?
Right, and those stories get in our head. You can see it with the person in pain. They could say, say they broke their back a long time ago or something. I've had back pain for 20 years now. And it's not just them having a physical reaction right now. They have an emotional reaction to the idea of that story.
Right.
But that's not who you are. Who you are right now is a person experiencing a bout of back pain. So there's not an emotional problem there right now, unless you make one. There is back pain. And you can completely go through your day enjoying your life with back pain there.
Yeah, it depends. And then we come full circle, which is I love, and we go back to the labeling. And in the real world, okay, whatever that means, you get to attach, you're allowed, okay, just by being born and alive, you're allowed to attach different meanings to an object. You're allowed to do that. You're allowed to go, okay, this is pain. How do I perceive pain?
Literally, there are no rules against it.
Yeah.
You could feel pain in your body, and rather than making it a mental thing, identify it as a sensation. There's a sensation in my lower back right now. You don't have to say whether it feels good or not, but just feel with your body. Connect to your body, connect to yourself, and this is where meditation plays a role, which you can look into on your own if you feel like. I'm not going to walk you through one here.
Yeah.
But just connect deeply with your body and recognize the sensations that arise and as they go away, and you'll start to realize that nothing is forever. There will be varying levels, there will be different things, that you're different every single moment, every single second. That the sensations in your body are different, that your body grows and changes, and sounds like I'm talking to a teenager here. Your body is growing and changing. But that literally lasts your whole life.
And it's very true. And you can assign different meanings to things. So if I have some back pain, what I could say is, okay, this is painful, right? In my head, maybe I'm talking to myself, wow, this is excruciating, this is painful. Well, as long as I keep using those words and everything, it's going to make it that way. It's going to have that relationship to me where I go, oh, it's excruciating.
What else does your mind associate with excruciating? What else?
Right. And that's not a fun road to go down. So something that you could do, and this is not healthy for everything. There are times to really experience stuff, but you can actually go change the meaning and go, this pain is going to make me stronger. I feel the pain. It's going to make me a stronger individual to get through my day and to show that I can have a flawless character, whatever that means, and still care about other people and put other people first, even though I have back pain. And I'm not going to talk about it like my ego.
Right, you don't identify with the back pain. It's still there, and you still feel it, but you can still do other things. Or you could just sit with it. You could be miserable about it. Or you can, feel it, work on the book you're writing, feel it, call up a friend, feel it, and watch TV, whatever else you were going to do that day.
So that definition's up to you, of what you want to do with it. And you have that power, you have that control. So whatever you're feeling out there right now, whether it's mental, physical, emotional pain, you can take care of this, and you can assign a different definition. You have that opportunity right now, and empower yourself, empower others around you, and become an example really for other people to live their life in a strong, meaningful, and powerful way.
So to sum up this episode, we started off with vision, and then we talked about what else did we talk about? thank you for joining us on Let Go Radio with Kory and Spencer.
It's been awesome, guys. Make sure to contact us and have a beautiful, wonderful day full of gratitude.
Yeah, be sure to like this and share, and we love you guys.